I'll just try and explain. I'll try and explain what I've been experiencing recently. Very recently, I would say maybe over the last month. So I've been practicing just keeping my attention in the present, just bringing my attention as much as possible into my senses, essentially, and just sitting in it as much as possible, just throughout daily life. And that seems to have created a bit of space, a bit of space between the mind and, I guess, the observer of the mind. So I've just been trying to sit in that space as much as possible. And in the beginning, it was like an effort that the mind would come up, or I would notice that the mind had taken my attention away. It was absorbing all of my attention, and I was completely in it. And then I would kind of snap myself out of it. Again, just practice bringing my attention into now, into what I was doing with my senses, and just being here, just being present. So I just kept doing this, just kept doing it. And the more I sat in the present, the more I sat in my sense perceptions of what was happening now, it started to get easier. There was less resistance. It wasn't an effort. It wasn't an effort to do that. It was like relaxing into it, like sitting in it. And the mind patterns would come up, but there was enough distance where, I could kind of see them coming up as they came up. And then kind of like there was a bit of choice there. There was a choice to pick them up or not. There was a choice to just leave them as they were and just let them do what they wanted to. I was not trying to do anything. It was just happening. So I started to feel this intention was there. I don't know where it came from, but I felt like my mind was becoming, like, in a sense, suicidal, as it was wanting, or it was obsessed with cessation and death and non-existence, as in it was almost trying to kill itself. But it was as if it was doing that so that it could find some sort of afterlife, some sort of attainment of something after death, like a high, or I guess, or another experience that was different. It was looking for something through the process of dying, like attaining enlightenment or attaining waking up or awareness. That's what it was looking for, and that was a kind of like a last resort type thing. Not suicidal in a physical sense, suicidal as in like a mind ego sense. So I started to get, how would you say, insights into the nature of the nothing, or the nature of I call it the nothing and the everything, the paradoxical no self, the what's left after you drop everything, or after the self is dissolved completely, just in glimpses and moments. Those moments kind of started kind of joining together in their fullness, or maybe not that, maybe the ego, the self, the sense of self in the person was getting thinner. It was becoming more ethereal. And when I got those glimpses, it's almost as if the mind was thinking, this is it? Is that it? There's nothing there to be attained at all. The thing that it was looking for wasn't really the ideal that it was looking for, and I think that was just the end point. The end point. It was just like, no, there's no hope, and it kind of vanished for a while in bits, and then it came back, and it kind of resurrected itself. But now it's different. It's like it's there. It's just there in the space, but I'm not in it. Not in the experience. The attention isn't absorbed by it, but it's still there. The ego's there. Just the same patterns they're all there, but they're in this space, and I'm just watching it all the time. And it comes and goes, and it comes and goes, and it gets more quiet over time. Some days it's louder, but it's there. It just kind of comes and goes. It does its own thing. It's not as if I'm thinking thoughts. It's just thoughts are coming and going. They're just coming and going, and I'm just watching them and just sitting in the presence as much as possible. So there's that. It's not like there's a space now. It's just like the person, the mind, is just an object in this space that's part of the space. It's part of everything. Everything's part of it. It's all the one thing, but it's no thing, it's nothing. It's just happening. It's just a happening. And the patterns and the illusions become very apparent when you're able to let it do what it wants and observe it. Observe it playing out, and you're watching it, but you're not watching it like not like you're thinking about it or analysing or critiquing it or anything like that. It's just there. You can observe it, and then there's a kind of knowing. And I guess it comes back into the mind analysing things through the insight and then trying to communicate them through language. But it's also it's kind of like, is this it? Is this being the awakened state? Is very normal. Everything's the same. There's nothing special, really. It doesn't seem like there's anything special other than like the sense perceptions. You're just paying attention to them more, and you're noticing a lot of things that are in the field of awareness that you weren't previously aware of because you were essentially asleep. It's very, very natural, very simple, very obvious, and everything's the same, but it's not. Everything's the same. It's just the same thing. Again, but it's not, because I guess it's a perspective shift in a sense. Very difficult to explain. It's the ego. It comes and goes. The thoughts that come and go, and like I've tried to pick them up. Like actively tried to pick it up as if it was me choosing to pick it up, and it's not picking up like I once did before. It's difficult. It's almost as if once that shift has happened, you can't really unlearn what you've learned, in a sense. You can't really go backwards. Once the insight's there, you've seen it, and then there's no unseeing it. That's what it kind of seems like. And then during that transitional period, when I did pick it up, or when I did, go into the thought stream and fully identify again, I noticed I guess there was an extra bit of awareness that allowed me to understand and experience and appreciate what that process of identification does to you and what it feels like, as a kind of like dualistic comparison between the two states of consciousness. And it's like being asleep. That's I guess that's why they call it awakening and unawake, because it's like drifting off into sleep, and then you wake up, you catch yourself, and you wake up, and then you nod off again, you catch yourself, and you wake up. And it's definitely correlated with a lot of physical symptoms in the body. Like the body is very, very connected to the mind. It's very, very difficult to explain, but I can go very deeply into it. But there's something that's, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's the ego talking. It's more like or feeling, or it's just something that just is telling me that it don't need to go that deep into it. Not at the moment. It's not something that has to happen just now. Just go with what's happening now. Yeah, well, there you go.